Many premium camera manufacturers, including the Swedish company Hasselblad, have tarnished their reputation in recent years. They have released ridiculous rebadged cameras that carry absurd prices, and last year the Hasselblad CEO said no more to these crappy products, that Hasselblad was to refocus the core of the brand. And yet here we are, a year later, with this monstrosity. At long last, the rumor mill finally comes to a close. This is the Hasselblad True Zoom, a new Moto Mod for Moto Z that will be unveiled at the IFA conference in Berlin this week. Now, like the other Moto Mods, the True Zoom magnetically attaches to the rear of your Moto Z smartphone. However, the design behind this mod, at least in my opinion, is a lot less elegant than the other three mods that Lenovo currently offers. This thing is bulky. It is incredibly uncomfortable to hold. It feels fragile, the shutter button is loose, and it feels terrible to push. And unlike the other three mods, it doesn't have an internal battery, so it's going to slurp some serious juice from your phone. The good news is that it is modular, so you can just take it off when you're not using it. And believe me, you'll want to. Not use it, mind you, but take it off, because its lackluster build quality is just the tip of the iceberg. People have been rumoring about this for a long time, because at first look, True Zoom sounds awesome. It features 10x optical zoom, giving you an effective 25 to 250 millimeter focal length. And there is a xenon flash, which is a lot brighter than what an LED flash can offer on a smartphone. So it sounds pretty good when you hear that, but it quickly falls apart once you hear the other specs. It has a small, mediocre 12 megapixel 1 2/3 inch sensor, which is just slightly larger than the sensor inside the phone itself. Now, that perhaps would be acceptable given a large aperture, but the lens offers a very paltry, borderline offensive f3.5 to 6.5 fixed aperture based on your focal length. What does that mean? Well, it means it's not going to be a good performer in low light or where you want a nice depth of field. Now, despite my initial pessimism, I hope that the True Zoom at least had the decent optics and good optical image stabilization to make up for the other annoying shortcomings. But I think my hope was set in vain. The camera is highly oversaturated, and the colors are far from realistic. The stock camera offers much more true-to-life color reproduction, and while the stock camera is annoyingly oversharpened, that's undeniable, the Hasselblad is way too soft and it's far too noisy. In anything but basically direct sunlight, you're going to get noise, which is completely unacceptable. The edges of all of the shots are super soft and crunchy, regardless of focal length. Furthermore, the camera often pulls focus incorrectly, making shots just completely unusable. Overall, the shots seem underexposed, noisy, they're too soft, they lack dynamic range, and that's compared to the Moto Z stock camera. It's not like I'm comparing it to a DSLR, this is comparing it to the camera that's already on the phone. To make things more hilarious, it has dual stereo microphones because they brag about it being such a good video camera, but the camera itself inside the phone can record at 4K, but the Hasselblad can only record at 1080p at a mere 30 frames per second, and the video doesn't even look good. Take a look. This is a demo of 1080p video being captured on the Hasselblad camera mod for Moto Z. It has dual microphones, but is limited to 1080p video. The Moto camera app is still much to be desired. It has a few new features specific to the Hasselblad Moto Mod. You've got some manual controls like focus pulling, ISO, shutter speed, white balance, and exposure. But frustratingly, there's still no support for even the most basic features on every other camera app on every other platform, like grid lines and horizon level. Come on, Motorola. The camera supports JPEG as well as RAW plus JPEG shooting, but even after editing my RAW shots, little if any dynamic range or color improvements could even be noted. The only saving grace on this camera is its optical zoom. It obviously outperforms digital zoom of the internal camera, and well, it should, it better. But that's the only reason this camera is even worth existing, and the only nice shots that I was able to get out of it. Motorola wouldn't tell me a price. They're announcing it later today, and I'll list it in the video description when it's announced, but a Verizon store SKU leak had it listed at $249. Now that's a conservative price point, but that would make it fall in line with the $299 projector mod, which is also highly overpriced. At $249, this is a terrible value. It's not a good product anyways, but if it cost $100 to $150, I might recommend it to those that absolutely need optical zoom. But a penny more than $150, and this thing's a highway robbery. Save your money and get a mid-range point and shoot better. You'll get much better photos with a lot fewer compromises. I'm Quinn of Snazzy Labs. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate a like. If you didn't like it, then that other button seems to work okay too. If you want more awesome tech videos like these, you can stay subscribed to the channel. I'm usually more positive than this. This was just terrible. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, stay snazzy.